it's a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. I still love that, our theme song. I cannot get enough of that theme song. And it's so funny because I get it from royalty-free music so that we don't get dinged by anything. And as I'm making the behind the scenes for the Masters, like I'm using different things. And as I'm editing, I have to listen to the same song over and over again. Then I'll be like walking through the house singing this royalty-free song that nobody in the world knows, but like the few people that use it. But I have always loved our theme song on here. And so glad that we found that. And
I think I heard it on one of Proven's video.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they
started using it. And I was like, hey, that's the song that we play.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be like the original, right, Kenneth? Well, so glad you could join us tonight. It's Sunday night. We're back at our normal time slot, normal night, wild day, wild weekend. Both of my college team and my pro team won this weekend. So I'm in a much better mood this week than I am in most weeks. But yeah, Penn State was a little frustrating last night, but
MSU
they
was a little
the game and could not score. They could not score somehow, but ended up winning the game in the end. So, and the Bears actually look kind of good today.
That's good. We'll see how the Lions do coming up shortly.
Are they tomorrow?
Yeah, they're tomorrow 8. Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Niners, I think we're doing well, right? Like real well.
I didn't look. I haven't even looked at many of the scores from today. I've had a busy day, so I have to catch up on that.
Corey Leonard says on the Russ headed home from Beach Brawl. I'm assuming that's a bus.
Road. He's on the road.
On the road. Okay. I am shocked that Beach Brawl went on.
I was very curious on that myself.
I know that Pensacola got kind of missed by the hurricane, but everything around it would have been affected to get there. And because it actually affected the Masters Fitness Championship in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So I am shocked that they were able to go.
Were people not able to travel there?
Yeah.
So we can jump. Well, first, like, subscribe, hit that notifier so you know when we're going live. We are so appreciative of all you people that come in and listen to us every week. We love you all. But yeah, Saturday I decided I was going to drive up to MFC and see my people, right? Like, I've become so ingrained in the Masters community now that they are my people. I like hanging out with them, and I have such a good time. So we drove up, and this year they did it different. They did all the RX and teams in the morning and all the elites in the afternoon and evening. I did not know that, or I would have left later in the day and then stayed later into the evening, knowing that that was kind of the way it was. But we ended up getting there like in time to see a couple RX heats and then a big long break. And so we sat there for the break, but got to see a bunch of people, and then stayed for one full event of the elite and part of another event. But it was reported to me by many people there that Friday there were 5 judges that could not get in, and 15 judges who were first responders who were told they were not allowed to leave. So that's 20 total judges that could not make it to MFC. And Friday night went really late.
Yeah.
Because it slowed everything down for the competition just because of lack of judges. But they got through it all and then started back on Saturday. Recruited some judges from somewhere. I know, like, Peter Brown's wife wasn't volunteering this year and jumped into judge, and she's been a judge several places. So they got some quality people to jump into. And then Saturday, they're pretty much right on time throughout the day. I like the split up. I just wish I would have known for my schedule to be able to get there at a time where I could have spent more time. But I got to see Jim. I got to see Terry. I got to see Ronica. I got to see Lauren. And Lauren, I joked with her. She did an event that had double unders, and she caught the Carolynes.
Oh no!
And she goes, I need help. Like it. They just went, and she just couldn't find the rhythm. And then all of a sudden, like on the last 2 rounds, they came back.
That was a chest to bar and skier workout. I saw that one at first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I feel your pain. Because Lex had sent me the video. She's like, Lauren's about to go right now. Go watch her. So I put it on and I was like, oh no. Been there many times.
Yeah, she really struggled on that double under. And then Ronica went total boss move and went unbroken double under on the last round to catch a bunch of people. And then got across the finish line in total cramp, calf, leg, wince face. And I'm like, that's the face you make when you see me for the first time. But yeah, it was really fun to watch. I just wish there was a way in the Masters community that we didn't have to watch the same event for 4.5 hours. Right. I wish there was a way that you could break it up better, but I know logistically, like moving equipment and all that stuff, like what else are you going to do? But it just takes away from the excitement of the events. So you have that event, which was long. That was a 12 to 14 minute workout, and it's got ski erg. It's got 50 wall balls in the middle of it, a bunch of double unders. So you're not seeing a lot of movement on the floor where you can even see the race.
I didn't think many of the workouts had movement on the floor. I was pretty frustrated with that. I mean, you had the one camera that for the main floor that had commentary, so you could kind of hear what was going on. But the other floor was just the static camera. I mean, thankful they had it at all, but you could not tell what was going on. They needed placards. They need they need to tell the story on the floor so people watching can see where people are at and a finish line. Still didn't.
So I just got on my phone. We were speaking before this about Patrick Mahomes taking out his own number 1 wide receiver. Rashee Rice is feared to have suffered a torn ACL. Additional testing to be done.
You better give him some of that contract that he has.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How
awful.
So I think that we talk about that with a lot of events, that when you get away from the games or high level like Rogue, like the story just doesn't get told as well. That 10-round event with sandbag, handstand walk, deadlift, nothing changes.
Nope.
And it's just this redundant, people lift the sandbag. I don't even know how many reps, like 6 or 7 times. And then you do a handstand walk down. It has to be unbroken for some, not for others. And then you deadlift 5 times. And then you stand walk back down and it's 10 rounds of that. Like, my goodness, you couldn't even tell what round they were in.
Right.
It just gets to be a mashup.
So no visual, like,
nothing changed on the floor.
No
ever.
pylon.
No pylon. No. Yeah. Like placard or pylon or something so that like you can track the story. Like they've got to figure something out.
Yeah. Someone flipping one of those, like score, the athletes, I'm sure could, and Veronica's saying, I couldn't even tell. I'm sure the athletes couldn't tell what place they were in.
Right.
And that's on the smaller floor. Then you go to the bigger floor. It's so wide. And the seating was bizarre. Katie Callior was in like lane 19. Danny Oliveri's in like lane 8. Lauren's in like lane 13. How do they see each other when they're like, they ended up being all in the top 4 at the end of the weekend? and they're split miles apart.
Yeah.
So
No.
Corey, they did not for every event. They did for the first event I was there for.
Yeah, I think there was one. I guess technically the last event for Elite, the run, clean and jerk. I guess technically you could say they finished on the mat. That one was weird because of a stagger start. So some people ran to their bar to finish, and some people stopped on their number mat. But I mean, that one you could kind of tell anyway because you were coming in on a foot race, so you could see as people came in. But the ones on the floor, like that deadlift, handstand walk one, or the pick six, the overhead squat row, they just put the barbell down after the back squat and we're done. Like you didn't even know if they were, you were like, wait, are they doing burpee penalty or are they done? No idea.
Yeah. Andrew Sten says that's why I hate 20 lane floors, but both MFC and Legends will do it due to the number of athletes. And I do kind of understand you've got to get, it's either that or we watch 8 hours of the same event, right?
Right.
Instead of
It
4.
makes sense to do it.
But
I
somehow tell the story differently, like that you can tell.
I don't care that there's 20 on the, like it was, you're right. It was wide. It was hard for maybe a camera to fit everyone on TV, but that doesn't mean that it can't still be a 30-foot long floor. They had the room there at MFC. That does, like, they can still run a proper event that has a start and a finish and has a placard. And I mean, it could be equipment, money, a little bit. I don't know like what's keeping them from doing that, but you can tell a story on the floor with a little bit of better planning for these workouts.
They had that event on Friday where it was max burpee box overs after the buy-in. They did have a placard for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good. Like,
so leave that out there. Why wasn't that out there for the deadlift handstand walk so that we could see the rounds?
Right. You had enough for that one. So why not move it over to the other floor for a 10-round event? So, yeah. But overall, like I thought it was a great event. Like there were a lot of people in the stands, probably even more than last year, with less big names.
Yeah, for sure.
I think what this has become is the stepping stone into the Masters world.
Yeah, which I sort of feel like the December Legends needs to be that, and MFC needs to, because I'm on one hand, I didn't get to go. I had a wedding this weekend, so I didn't even get to go and support Ron and Jim and Terry. A little frustrating, but I've said this. I think MFC could be one of the top Masters competitions. Like the venue is wonderful. They typically have we usually have 8 or 9 events with a swimming event. And I get it. We're in this period where we need to figure out if we're going to have swimming or not. But I didn't like that there was only 6 events and no swimming this year. I don't feel like there was enough events or enough broad time domains. Like the deadlift one was like a 20-minute cap, but I mean, some people took 11. Like potentially the longest some people were on the floor was like 12 minutes. It's still kind of like the games. And like in the past, we've had like 20-minute AMRAPs. Like you have to work out for 20 minutes. And I think you need to have that long event. I think you need like the last events today, both of them were 2 50-point events. And I don't know, like I think you're getting goofy with the programming, trying to just throw in more scores. It's not necessarily the best way to spread those points around.
I don't disagree. I like that there's 2 Masters competitions outside the games. But I think because of timing alone, the MFC has become like, and this is not a dig on them. It's because of timing. People have just finished the games. Wadapalooza SoCal just happened with the Masters division. Now you have this. It's become like the JV for people to see where they stand. It's the only competition I know of with a 30 to 34-year-old division where people can like see where they stack up against people their own age and not have to go against 20-year-olds for the first time. Like that's where you have your Katie Calliors and Danny Oliveris and Lauren Olsons who have never got to do that before and got to see where they stand. And they all did well. They all finished in the top 4.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, it was like the last week in October, like the 22nd, 23rd, like that type of weekend. And that was that way for like 3 or 4 years. Always the weekend after my birthday. And then last year they changed it to the 29th, 28th of September, which means like, so last year I had to compete in 39 again. Like all from the year before, I was like, oh, good. The next year I'll be able to do 40. And then no, they changed it. And I don't think it was a great idea to move it up like 3 weeks. I think keeping it further from the games would have brought in some of those people to maybe still do MFC.
What about if it was like late June?
Well,
As a
before the
warm up
games.
to the games. That was a big gap between semis and the games for the Masters.
Because everything's online until then, so it's a chance to get your feet wet prior to the games in person. I think that's where that one should get placed, and then the games can be in that like August area.
I really
You
like
get
that.
you get that
actually.
like couple months before just to. You need an in-person comp, and a lot of masters, like everything's online until you get to the big show.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, you could do drug testing there for the games as well.
I really like that idea because I know that when they were late October, they couldn't get judges because they were all at Rogue. Right?
Yeah.
So you're running into different, it's not just the athletes, it's the judges and the volunteers. And like you need that whole crew to kind of happen. And so, yeah. And Andrew Sten says it does depend on when the Masters games happen.
Yes.
If it's where it is this year, that Carolyn's idea makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
A tune-up live competition before the games, I think people would jump at that opportunity.
Yeah, because it's like the semis are normally, now we don't even know what the season will look like next year. We can talk about that later. But like the semis are normally end of May, middle of June. So it would be, and it's not like there's that many Masters athletes that will compete there. There are a few, but those athletes are getting their in-person competition. And it'd be for the rest of them to get their feet wet before. So that's why I think end of June is mid-end of June would be good.
Yeah, I really, and I think they get way more participation. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So overall, like I thought it was great. Like Jamie said, and we've said this a billion times, their facility is awesome. Tons and tons of parking.
Yep.
It's a huge facility. The ushers that are hired from the facility are super nice guys and ladies. They're very accommodating. And there's just tons of spot to camp out. Right.
And hotels are super reasonable, plenty.
And they had an extra set of stands this year. Last year it was just on the far end of the big floor. This year they had them all the way up the front and down the side. I do have to thank a special angel though. Julie was sitting in the stands in the 4th row. I've talked about on this show. She needs knee replacements. She lost her balance coming down the stairs of the stands, and a guy grabbed her by the arm, and another lady saw it and pushed her on the opposite shoulder, and it swung her enough that her balance pivoted from forward to sideways, and she was able to catch herself and not go face first down the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
And whoever that person was, thank you. Because that was scary as hell to me. And then Dan Church, who is an avid listener of us and one of the best guys in the space, and is a trauma nurse in his real life, helped her down the stairs the rest of the way. So it was cool that this little community gathered around her in a very emergency situation and made sure she didn't. All I could keep picturing is her face first into that cement at the bottom of the stairs. And the guy that caught her was strong. He got her with one arm and then pulled her, and then the other lady kind of gave her balance, and Whew. Big breath. Corey Leonard, Dan Church is a saint. Pretty close. I think he's up for it in the next couple of years.
He did elite this year?
He did.
Awesome. How'd it go?
He was in 13th out of 20 when I got there. The next event I watched him was the sandbag handstand walk. He started slow and then started catching people because his handstands never faltered. For a big dude, like that guy can go inverted forever. And he just started clipping people off. And I think he was in like second or third when it came to the end of that one.
That's
so I don't know how he finished overall because Instagram, they only put up the top 5.
Yeah.
So he did not make it to the top 5, but yeah, always rooting for that guy. Super, super nice guy. So there's that. We'll move on to tomorrow, episode 4 of All Access behind the scenes of the 2024 Masters CrossFit Games. Comes out at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. That is 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. And yeah, this one is only a 20-minute episode. This is the last episode of day 1. And then it kind of shifts. So we talked about that a little bit, where next week we lose some access, but everybody starts to know who we are. And so the conversations become longer. So we have more content to sift through moving forward after this one. But I did I have a clip here. I'm just going to show you. It's not a trailer. It's just, I took the clip right out of this episode, and just so you can get a little taste. So here we go. So you just finished event 3?
Yeah.
The overhead squats and lunges?
Yeah.
How'd that go for you?
It was good. I think I was second in my heat, so, and I think I was faster than the first heat, so it's good.
Is that in your wheelhouse?
I mean, everything's in my wheelhouse, I guess, right? Like, I mean, it's hard for me to say like wheelhouse. Like, I just got a lot of things I'm good at, you know, and yeah. I mean, I don't really consider anything my wheelhouse this weekend. It's just, I think that I just don't want to have like those expectations, right? Because then if you're like, yes, this is my wheelhouse, I should do good at this, then it like puts a lot of pressure. So just trying to be like,
so just
everything's just like even keel, like it is what it is.
There we go. A little clip. Jamie's main competition.
Yeah.
I was just
You
about
guys
to
are
say, how
so-
does it feel when you like hear your competition say stuff like everything's in our wheelhouse? Like, how does that feel when you hear that and you're like,
She is definitely confident. Like, good for her. Like, I don't feel that way.
You think maybe you should?
I don't know.
You guys are such similar athletes.
We are
like,
similar. I
you
guess
guys are within a second of each other on everything.
And I guess I can see what she's saying. Like, there was a decent amount of CrossFit, and I think we're both good at CrossFit. So yeah,
You're both smaller.
Yeah, I would not say that was Wood's wheelhouse for me. Like squatting, my squat speed, I just have really long legs. Like I may be a shorter athlete, but I have no torso really, and I have very long legs, so I might as well be squatting next to somebody who's 5'10". And because of my back, I like, especially if it gets heavier, I'm just slower at squatting. I'm great at lunging, so like it was like a weird, I needed more lunging in that workout.
So Carolyne, as an athlete, and you hear that, and you know Jamie, what are your thoughts?
Jamie has some wheelhouse for sure. Like, I think you win two events or top two in a couple, 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had two seconds and a first.
Like you have a lot of things that you're really good at. You just have one hole with the strength.
Didn't you get 2 wins? Not to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Yeah, I think you had 2 wins.
The run and the echo bike.
No, Carolyne won, or Carlene won the echo bike. She finished, and I was, so I got second on that.
Yeah, you guys were very similar because I remember even the strength, Carlene went down as well, and then you guys were close on a lot of the workouts. But
yeah, we were very close.
I think you might just be more like honest, where you're always very like you know your strengths and weaknesses, you know where you are within the field and how to stay within your own lane. If something's not, your strength. But then sometimes you surprised us on some of the events that you were saying you weren't going to do as well. And then all of a sudden you're crushing it. So sometimes I think you sell yourself short.
Yeah, that's possibly true.
She just, the reason I picked that clip is she caught me totally off guard. I was not expecting her to be that confident.
Yeah.
Like right after. And she was totally unabashed about that. And I thought it was awesome to get that raw kind of thing. And that's why, like, this has been the most fun project I have ever worked on. And I can't wait to keep going. But, and I'm really excited to get to like episode 5, because I think that's where it's even going to pick up some more, because people knew who we were more by Friday.
Yeah. After
we were around for 2 days. So, super excited about that. But I do want to say Roderick Lopez, he's known as Meme for Time on Instagram, did a behind the scenes of the adaptive CrossFit Games. It's really good. I watched episode 1, and if you want to know about the adaptive CrossFit Games, I was educated so much. The athletes are so open about what they've been through, whether it's like through accident or through birth or through disease or through whatever. They're very open and honest to talk about why they're in this position and why CrossFit has kind of saved them and given them an opportunity. And he does a really good job with the athletes to be able to tell those stories. So if you have not checked it out, it's really, really good.
That's awesome.
And I'm glad that someone did it for the adaptive division as well. Because they, like all these athletes, every athlete should have the ability to tell their story. So yeah, super, super fun there. And that's on Roderick's YouTube page. It's probably Meme for Time, I'm guessing. But I found it pretty fast. So then we're going to talk about Roman. So Roman posted a story. I'm going to share that real quick. That Dallin clipped, Dallin Pepper. And here is what Roman posted on his story. There are rumors that if you gather all the strongest athletes from around the world, North America won't stand a chance. Dallin posted, Roman, running your mouth doesn't count as exercise. Hang in there. You might get another shot next year. Maybe you'll even take it.
Yeah, that was my question. Was Roman hurt or just declined or what?
I don't think we'll ever know, but I've heard that it was through injury.
He did have an injury at the games. So I don't know if he was still recovering. It was a little bit too close, and then he wanted to focus on Rogue.
And Ricky, we know, was hurt as well at the games.
Right.
So that's two big hitters that they didn't have. But we were talking before we went on the air, like being healthy at the end of the season is part of the competition.
Right.
And you got to go with the people that you have. We talked about Patrick Mahomes running into his number 1 wide receiver. and now they're fearing ACL. Now he's got to play the rest of the year without his number one receiver. They're not giving up on the season. They're just going to keep going. If Roman and Ricky couldn't play because they were hurt, then the world has to go on without them. But I was really surprised at how much this blew up.
It has.
Like Pat Vellner gets into it. Justin Medeiros throws the meme up. Dylan Lowen, Emily Rolfe, and she goes back and forth. There's 19 replies to her post. I've known Emily for 3 years. I've never known her to be like this. Like Danielle Brandon, Ariel Lowen, and it goes on and on and on. And I could not believe it.
It's so good.
I think the athletes have every right to jump in here and say whatever they want.
Absolutely.
What drives me crazy is the people that weren't playing or even considered for this jumping in and giving their opinion.
Yeah.
You haven't earned the right to jump in the sandbox. But I think this is great for the sport.
I do too.
And I think that Wodapalooza may have found a really cool event, and now next year there's more people who want to see this, right?
They do. There's definitely going to be a call for trying to get those top world athletes and actually see where they stack up.
And how much did Loud Live have to pay for that marketing?
Right.
$0. Any thoughts, Carolyne?
I like it. I couldn't tell, like, with some of the comments, whether it's like there's a lot of not sarcasm, but like kind of. It's entertaining. I like it. I mean, I think Roman has a good point. Like, not all their top athletes were there. Like, you could add Gabby Laura, Ricky, Roman, Jay Crouch. Like, there's a lot of them. But like we talked about before coming on the air, there was Guy that had some specialist type workouts for him. I mean, Tia dominated every event that she took part in.
To get Roman and Ricky on, he probably doesn't make it.
Right.
Yeah. And then you lose the heavy lift and you lose the gymnast. So what does that mean for the overall, so it would be interesting to see how it all played out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then we talked too that Emma Lawson really should have been on the North America team, and probably Emily would not.
Yeah.
And then you lose your long distance endurance person on North America, but you gain like a handstand phenom and great athlete.
I think Emily is one of the most perfect athletes for an event like this. I don't think that's somebody you want to lose.
I think Lawson would be too close, to some of the other ones, like Raptis and Dingell and stuff. And Emily brings something different to the table in terms of the specialization that she has, especially in the running workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about. But with all that, what are your thoughts about using this? Do you think what they did with the TYR Cup could help the team division? TEAM, team division.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like you could maybe take some of these event ideas and make team events have these pick your best female, pick your best male, and they're going to go on the floor and they're going to, I don't want to say that would encourage specialization, because I don't think we ever really want to necessarily see that and push for that. But I do think, I just think the races on the floor could be more fun and more interesting to watch.
Carolyne?
I like the format that you can have different people go in and out of events. I think you should have no more. I think 4 people or 4 guys, 4 girls is a little bit too much. I like the 3, and then I would say that you need a minimum amount of events that you have to take part in. So like, let's say you have to take part in 4. So while you might have a specialist in there, there still needs to be, they got to be thrown out there a certain amount of times in the weekend. That part's just hard because if someone were to get injured, what do you do if they didn't meet that minimum work requirement?
Yeah, I think we
You
have
could play
to
around with the
probably-
rules, but I still think that you should force people to play a certain amount of times.
I think if so many times we've seen a team show up and get injured and not be able to play. I think if you had a 6-person team and 4, any event, the max number on the floor was 4, then you can avoid that. And if they get hurt, then you're just down 1 person and have to go the whole week with just the 5 or 4. But then you have to make sure people aren't gaming it, right? Because people will be like, "Ooh, I'm hurt. Ooh, I can't," because they know their specialty's done.
Yeah,
Right.
like, oh, I'm done my lift now. I'm hurt.
Yeah. So, but I do think it would add something. And just because you would add some specialization, we shouldn't shy away from it. Add enough stuff that like they have to work as a team, right? You could add 4 more events that are classic CrossFit Games events, right? That they all 4 have to work together, or all 6 have to work together. And no, you can't hide anybody in those events.
Right.
And still add some of the specialization that will attract crowds.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts. I think we've stumbled onto something here that might be good. You can do substitutions in team events without it being grid with funky movements and utter craziness, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, grid's like in and out in the same workout. This is not like in the same workout. This is you do the workout and then you can switch out the next workout, which is different.
Yeah.
Could be a challenge for the sponsors for the kit. I mean, that team is already, I'm sure, hard to fulfill all those, because they like those team athletes are getting their own personal name on their jerseys. I almost think you'd have to be like, here's your team name kit, and you guys got to split it up.
Well, if you finish semifinals with your 6 people that you're bringing, you bring those 6, and then you can sub in and out the 4.
I know, but you're going from making clothing for 4 people amongst 30 teams to 6 people.
Money's
like
no object. Money's no object.
Oh, yeah.
We're bringing people to the stands now.
Okay.
It's going to be more exciting.
Okay. Just thinking through my master's brain of how we've been treated. So,
Yeah. Where it says teens instead of masters.
yeah.
Okay. Before we get to the last subject, I want to real quick just share this. I need to do a huge shout out. I should have done it last week, but I'm going to do it this week. And our photographer from Wadapalooza, SoCal, and he's done some other events for us. easemahcaptures. You follow this guy. He's awesome. How am I not following him? Okay. Anyway, so he is our photographer. He's really become like our West Coast content guy. And he is so great to work with. It's so phenomenal. And this is a picture of him. Huge shout out to him. He did the West semifinals for us. He did Wadapalooza SoCal. He's going to continue to do events for us. It's been such a great relationship. And it's so cool getting to work with him. But huge shout out. Everything we posted, the thumbnail for tonight came from his pictures. He is the one that put the reels up for us. It's been awesome. And awesome. And the other piece of this was that we gained 200 followers from Brazil because of his gi reels.
Oh, that's awesome.
On Instagram. So that was great. Love it. So huge shout out to him. So the last thing I have is what we're going to finish the night with. And I'll admit, coming up to this point this week, I thought without question we would have a 2025 CrossFit Games. And after kind of reading through Instagram, I don't know how I started scrolling on this with different athletes and looking at different things. I'm not sure anymore. And so I wanted to pose it up to you guys. Do you think we will have a 2025 CrossFit Games?
I mean, I think if you're looking at it from the perspective of athletes saying they might sit out and whatnot, and that's going to shut down the games, I would say no. I think the sport is bigger than our 10, 20 well-known athletes. I think it's going to depend on, still stuff to come with the Lazar situation and where that shakes out. And from HQ side more than athlete side. There's always going to be another fit person that probably would do, of course, not as well as Tia. But quite honestly, if Tia were to sit out, great. We'll get a new set of names to watch and view. We've talked about it, Scott, and maybe we are in the minority, but I love watching the fourth heat. I love watching somebody that we don't really know win an event out of heat one. And you know what? If you want to sit out the season, sit out the season. We're going to get some new names who are going to show us some things that we maybe didn't expect. And I'd love to see new blood in the water.
I just think it's going to look different. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of changes once again. And if the company of CrossFit wants to focus more on the health and the affiliates, I think there's going to be slowly a separation from the sports side of things. And for liability and stuff purposes, maybe as well. But I just think it's going to look different. Not sure what that's going to be. But I think there's going to be some changes in the new year.
I think there are athletes, like I've seen it said in comments and stuff, that they will not come back to the games unless there is significant change. And I was surprised at the athletes that said that.
I was too. There was some that surprised me, but it is what it is. Make your stance, and that's fine. I don't know that there's other comps that will continue just fine, right? Wodapalooza is going to continue just fine, and Rogue's going to continue just fine. And I'm sure those athletes will be willing to go to that. And if like I said, if new blood comes in through the CrossFit space, through the open and whatnot, then maybe they've done themselves a disservice and somebody else catches fire.
Here's my biggest fear. And I've got a list of things that just thoughts, right? First biggest fear is the one thing the CrossFit Games were is that one championship of the year that was for the fittest on earth, right? And while we may complain that they're leaning heavier, they're leaning bigger, they're not Rogue, thank God, right? Right. So at least there was still a shot for the fittest and people to compete, like you and like Christy and like Carolyne and the people that could still play in the game. I do think it's going to happen. I do think it's going to look different. What that means, I have no idea. My other fear is that if something happens to the games, what happens to the adaptive, the masters, the teens, the teams, right? We're all focused on the elites and all that they're saying. Those people don't even have a voice. Now, I think adaptive Wheel Wad has always been their championship, and I think they'll continue to move on. Maybe Legend steps up, maybe the Pit steps up, and at least those two have a championship. But like I'm worried about that.
Yeah, I worry about that too. I mean, Legends is going to have to step up hugely to even make it look. You're going to turn into like MFC, and like people, the top are not going to go to that for a pair of shoes. They just aren't. Like, people are not going to those events unless you get a real cash purse prize that makes sense.
Right. And I think you lose all that. If you don't have an open that is supported by 50% masters athletes, you don't have the cash flow to do what you need to do. Right. And so I that is my fear. That is my fear. The other fear I
But
have,
if there's no open, then Legends can do their own online qualifier, and now all the masters that would have done the open maybe signs up for Legends or Masters qualifier there. Sorry, my washer is going on, so I've been muting, so you guys don't hear the spin cycle right now.
that's an option, but it's not the same community event as the open that you have at your. I think the reason so many people sign up for the open is because gyms encourage it. It's a community event. Like, there's so many ties to different things that if the main hub goes, do we lose all those little things around it? And I don't think we're going to lose the main hub. I just think it's going to look really, really different. And I think athletes should have a say and they should have representation. I just wish the PFAA would tell us why more so that we understood what was behind this.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at these comments, people are really pissed off. And what I'm being told isn't really elevated to a level of being that pissed off. There's something missing from this.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it. And I don't want the sport that I love and I follow and the methodology that saved my life to go away. And I'm always going to have a place to work out, right? Like, I know that's not going away, but I love following this sport and I don't want it taken away. And I do want the athletes to have representation. The reason I'm hard on them is I want them to do it in a way that makes sense and everybody has a voice. That's all. Because if you guys lose this, masters athletes lose their thing, adaptives lose their thing. There needs to be a voice from them too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I just think that there's still going to be other opportunities to compete. Like there's so many comps that don't have the CrossFit name, and they've continued to be successful.
I think,
but like you said,
great.
if you take away the CrossFit part, does it start slowly affecting those over the long run? Probably over the next few years, but like immediately they'll be fine. Like in the next year, but it'll be 3-4 years from now. What's going to be happening? And maybe someone will take over the sports side, and it's going to be something completely different again.
Maybe. I hope. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you don't have an ultimate championship at the end, are people going to watch? Are people going to continue coming to Wodapalooza or coming? Does Wodapalooza become a local comp now? Like,
and this is why, like, I always tell like the young athletes to like not, go all in CrossFit and not have any plan B and not, not play any other sports. Like, there's no scholarships in CrossFit. The sport constantly changes. You just don't have that stability within our sport that's in other sports. So, yeah, like, keep your options open, keep playing sports and being active. And the methodology is just always going to be there to me. It works.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. But I do think that I think that because of the way the PFAA is formed, the voices are from the top tier
Mm-hmm.
who have a very different view of what life is like than the 11th place person at semifinals that just missed out, or
Right.
the 15th person who is on their way up that might make it next year, right? And they have no voice as to the future when they probably are the future.
I mean, have they considered bringing masters voices on, or teens, or I mean, I know it sounds like they let Angelo in on the last meeting, so like maybe they're bringing some team athletes in, but maybe they should hear some opinions from some masters athletes, or get them on this, have a few of them on the board.
Yeah, because like the money that's raised by that huge number of masters athletes that pay in the open, they pay quarterfinals, and they have way more semifinalists than you do.
Right.
And they're all paying that semifinal or fee. Like, that's a huge chunk of money that's paying for the sport.
Yeah.
And yet they have zero voice. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. And that's all I've been trying to say for months, is that I want representation. I just want it to look the right way, so that we can come to some resolution. Craig says, I'm really enjoying the Masters behind the scenes episodes. I'm glad, because I'm really enjoying making them. I never thought I'd have this much fun. I usually hate editing, but this is actually fun editing. I don't even know what to, we have some wild Twitch comments coming in. That, thank
Killing
God
me.
the YouTube listeners can't see.
You're killing me, discount Tom Hardy.
So, and because we're in a third party software, I can't even like block or stop right now. But thank goodness it's not going to our YouTube channel. It's just on Twitch, which I don't think we have a ton of listeners over there. So anyway, I guess that's all. I really, Lexa said that like Bethany Flores has announced her next competition is High Rocks. Listening to that, my hope was she knows that Rogue doesn't fit her. And the only thing that's going to do is possibly hurt her back.
Mm-hmm.
So why not go do High Rocks and maybe do something really great instead of blow your back out going to do Rogue.
And she's a great runner, and she's great on the machines. Like, High Rock's gonna be great for her.
Yeah. But she says throughout that interview, like, I still love CrossFit. I love the methodology. I love the, so hopefully it's just a temporary move over, but who knows?
I mean, she might fall in love with High Rocks.
She may. It may be less wear and tear on her.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to Dave Hardy all the time, right? Judge, former games athlete in the Masters division, who his shoulders just got to a point where he couldn't take it anymore in CrossFit. So he went over to High Rocks and he's killing it.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to age him. He's 60 plus. 60, I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, amazing stuff. Okay. I guess that's
the crash workouts are out. Have you guys taken a look at them?
That's what we did want to talk about. Yeah.
And I forgot crash workouts. I'll pull that up.
So you get I know you didn't want dubs. Do you like that it's a drag rope? Is that like level?
I like any type of dubs that are not regular, because the gap
dubs
between me and double unders when it's a regular is huge. So
yeah,
the more different, the better.
I figured. I was like,
and then it's only 40, so that's also better for me because it's not like a set of over 100.
Right.
That's where. So I'm okay.
So I am pulling those up now. Carolyne will be doing these next week.
Is it next week?
Right.
All right. 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
This weekend I'm actually doing a high rocks.
All right.
Team now,
event
not individual.
1. Is this it?
Yeah.
Event 1?
If you just go to the arrow, you can just go right to the workout.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Event 1, dumb standard, 3 rounds for time, 10 dumbbell clean and jerks, 10 ring muscle ups, 10 dumbbell snatches, 170 on the dumbbell. Rest exactly 1 minute between rounds. Score is cumulative time. Jamie, I'm going to go to you to analyze because Carolyne's doing them. What's your thought on this one?
I don't know. A 70-pound dumbbell is just disgusting.
I think the dumbbell plays a bigger role to me than the ring muscle up, but maybe it's because I'm good at ring muscle ups. And someone who's like very proficient with the dumbbells, I think can afford to break up the ring muscle ups and be very good still because they can make up a lot of time just with their dumbbell movement.
Yeah. I mean, if you're like a lighter gymnast who's good at ring muscle ups, as good as you are, if that dumbbell is wrecking you, those ring muscle ups aren't going to be perfect by round 3. Like you're not doing 10 unbroken. If
that minute break comes up fast too, especially like in the 3rd round.
There's a minute break every round?
Yes. Yep. So you finish the 10 dumbbell snatch, then you get a minute rest.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
It makes you push the pace more.
Like you're not pushing the pace anyway. You're freaking racing with all the other athletes. Like just make it 3 rounds for time.
Also, I think it breaks up the 2 dumbbell snatch movements, so you don't have to do 20 on the spot. I think that's also a good way to do it. Because then you'd be stuck continuing to just be on the dumbbell for so long, and your back would get fired up way more.
So, you know, one of the things I always said about dumbbell clean and jerks is they become like a curl with a press.
Yes.
With this weight, does that prevent that from happening, where it's going to have to be cleaned more?
Like you basically like catch it in a power position and then jerk it.
Right, but can you, like, 70-pound curls, your biceps hurting quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you need to get underneath it. So
yeah, you're doing more of a high pull and like getting underneath. You're not really bringing it out away from you.
Because I know like a 50-pound dumbbell, like honestly, like in a gym workout, I'm just curling and pressing, almost muscle. But 70, no. Or yeah. And yeah, even for a dude, me. So, okay. And then is it this way?
Other way.
Other way.
Go back.
Event 2.
Click the arrow.
Midline sadness. 6 rounds for time. 12 9-calorie ski erg, 12-meter handstand walk, 12 medicine ball GHD sit-ups, 12-meter handstand walk. Handstand walks must be unbroken.
That's like 40 feet.
It's like 40 feet. It's like 40 feet. So it's like 80 feet around. So
that's a lot.
I don't practice med ball GHDs like ever. I find they pinch my lower back sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I tested this workout this week and I was sore in the abs for a few days. Just because it's like a speed movement, because it's only 12 on the spot, like you're moving that fast. And if it's a movement that you're not used to, it definitely gets you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a handstand walk speed event for me. But I just feel like the really fast handstand walkers are going to win this. It's not enough calories on the ski to like really make a difference. 12 GHDs, you're not sitting around waiting there. I don't know. By round 6, I personally would struggle. I feel like on like the last handstand walk, I'd probably have to rest 20 seconds going into that to make sure it was unbroken. It's a good workout. I like it.
Event 3. Purgatory.
So this is like a small little like worm looking
Sandbag, but
sandbag.
yeah. I love this one.
50 pill thrusters, 50 chest to bar pull-ups, 50 meter pill lunge anyhow, 50 chest to bar pull-ups, 50 pill thrusters. Will the pull-ups be on the trapeze or the regular?
I think this would be regular with the volume that would be there. I think it'll be a regular.
I think it'll be regular too. I love this workout. I like these longer, dense sets that JR programs. This will be a good one.
Is the pill like, it looks more like a tube and it has the straps?
No straps, just picture like literally like a pill, like just like a cylinder type thingy.
Okay.
It's just like a smoother personal worm. Like it's literally like,
because I have like a pill looking one, but it has straps around it. Like,
yeah, it won't. It'll be
the worm
smooth.
does.
Yeah, it won't be like that. It'll be smooth.
All right.
I love it.
Then we go to 4.
Then 4 and 5 are a combo.
4 is lineman's fright. 4 rounds for time. 6 deficit strict handstand push-ups. 30 meter sled drive.
And that sled is like a lineman. So it's like the flip sled, but you don't flip it. You keep it basically like shoulder level, and you like push it down the turf, as in those football drills when you have those dummies and you're just pushing them. So it's more that type of sled.
Oof,
I haven't done
that's
deficit. I haven't done and yeah, you're holding probably like this, but your arms are still going to be tired from that.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the last time I did a strict deficit that deep in a workout.
9 inches.
Rogue, we would do maybe 2 inches on the parallettes. We did the one year at the Invitational, maybe 2 years ago. It was the parallel handstand push-ups that were strict. We had about 2 inches. CrossFit Games, I think, had 2020 online had 2 inches for the females. So this one's a little bit more with 9 and 5.
What was the time cap on that?
8 minutes.
I feel like there's gonna be people stuck on those handstand push-ups by round 3. I can see people's.
That is not the right video.
No, keep going.
Yeah,
there you
go. Okay.
No, you're missing event 5.
Yeah, I'm in event 5. Shoot. I was trying to find someone. Hannah Hardy jumped in and said that the pill picture is in the video.
Yeah, the first slide of that of the pill one would have shown you it.
But I'm going the wrong direction, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. There's 5. That is the Cal Bikerg and 40 drag rope double unders.
And like 18 cals versus the men's 20 is not the same thing.
No.
At that point, like, why not just make it like that same. Doesn't do anything. Like the men's power output on the bike is like 20 would be like 15 for the females.
Agree.
I don't know what 2 cals does there. It's nothing.
I was curious on this one as well. I don't understand why it wasn't at least 16.
Yes, 2016 or 2015 even.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because their shoulders are just stronger anyway. So coming off of that handstand push-up, I think they're gonna fare better with this drag rope double under.
This
All right.
one's going to be a power output person that has good bike to me.
Yeah, these are going to be two opposite people.
Yeah.
So it's a 8-minute cap on the other one. You get a 2-minute rest and then
And another 8-minute.
another 8-minute workout. So potentially, if you're great at the other one, you get more rest.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too.
But I don't know how many people are going to finish that one.
All right. I'm going back to see the pill.
Okay.
Because Hannah said it's in the. Is this right?
Yeah,
This
it is.
our-
That's
it
the right
is?
one. That's the right one.
Okay.
It's linesman.
Well,
Well,
if you're doing the pill, you need to go back to the thruster, the purgatory,
Okay.
not lineman's fright. That was handstand push-up sled
Oh, I thought you
drag.
wanted to see the sled. You want to see the pill. Sorry.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. Ooh, that's smooth.
Mm-hmm. Could get slick. I mean, if it's super hot there.
Yeah. Okay. Now we know what the pill is. Now let's see what the sled is real quick. CrossFit. Yeah, we already talked about the Roman thing. So you have to go back and watch that after you hit like and subscribe.
Those are some excellent strict deficit handstand push-ups.
So that is a flip sled. No, it is a flip sled.
Oh, so you got to lift it and push it?
Yeah, and see that position
Yeah.
like this. So like you're not relaxing your shoulders really.
Even your biceps.
Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't flipped that sled since Wadapalooza. I think it's the same one that we did at Wadapalooza a few years ago. So I don't know what's the weight of it empty.
I think I actually like that better than hunching down over for me. But I'm 5'11".
I don't remember what it is empty. I mean, because we used it last year at Crash, and I had looked it up, so I knew what the base weight is. But I don't know, like 400.
All right, this is a new one. This is Mad Moon Event 6, 5 rounds for time, 600-meter run, 15 burpee get overs. A yoke.
Yeah, so the yoke is placed at that height, and you can put your hands on the yoke and just like burpee get overs, basically.
Taylor did them in Kill Taylor.
Okay, and then 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 deadlifts.
Put the weights higher.
365, 245.
365 is much heavier for the guys than 245 to me. 245 is 245 divided by. That's 67% for deadlifts. That's way too much. Like that's really light for the females compared to the males. That should have been heavier to me.
Well, that's your wheelhouse.
I wouldn't have wanted it any heavier.
But 67%, we don't go to 67 very often.
Sometimes it's appropriate. Maybe not in a deadlift. I don't necessarily disagree, but
I was picturing the yoke higher. But that's not bad.
30, what it was, 34 inches or something for women?
Yeah.
That's not
okay.
Better than 40-inch burpee back jump overs or 48 inches or whatever I did.
This is event 7, thick and thin. For time 6 and 4 legless rope climbs, 12 overhead squats, 6 and 4 thick rope climbs, 2-inch, and then 12 axle bar overhead squats.
Eight-minute time cap.
Dang. I hate axle bars.
I haven't tried this one yet, but I don't know. I haven't tried the last 3.
The heavier overhead squats are with the shorty bar, and the lighter overhead squats are with the axle bar. Legless on the regular rope, regular rope climbs on the thicker rope.
Yep.
Huh.
1.5 is regular rope.
Yeah. This will be a good workout.
How do you feel
You
about
like
that, from
this?
Carolyne?
For me, it's legless workout or legless rope climb workout.
Yeah.
It's a time it takes between the legless. Like that's a big difference. Like you have huge separation there in the females.
You will.
Huge separation there. Like the guys can do larger sets like on the spot. I think most of the females are fine with the rest of the workout. It could have been 4 legless rope climbs almost for time with 12 overhead squats, and you would get the winner almost, I think.
Yep.
Unless I haven't tried the axle lever. I mean, it would be probably awkward to.
CrossFit asked, does axle matter besides getting it overhead to start?
Yeah, I think it'll tax their grip. Well, I guess it doesn't matter at that point, but their grip will be taxed, so it's going to be awkward holding that. But
Yeah, if you can get a good shelf, it can just kind of rest there. If you can get a good shelf, but to me, it is getting it up there. Getting it up there is going to tax your grip. In addition to all those rope climbs, and
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a good workout.
What's the time cap on that? 8?
Yes, that
could be quick. I don't know. Is that the last workout? 7?
Yeah, that's the last one, the 7th one. It's a nice little finale.
Is it like 2, 3, 2? Do you know the?
I'm gonna assume
3, 2, 2?
2, 3, 2. I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume that, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at I don't think we got a schedule yet. Well, like that's a fun finale one because if you blow up on the legless and let's say you miss your 4th rep, there can be your finale, like your podium or big changes in the leaderboard. You could do all the way up and you'd have a huge hole with legless or something.
Yep.
So he definitely makes sure that you have to have your strict deficit handstand push-ups. You have to have your legless on. It's not a high like a big amount, but just having the 4 on the spot is a huge separator. You have your ring muscle ups. So you do have some good pieces of gymnastics that you have to be proficient with. You still got to be able to move the heavy dumbbell, deadlift. No max lift, but I prefer that.
Yeah.
Especially in a weekend with like 7 events versus if you have 8 to 9, I'd say around like 8 to 9, you can start having a max lift.
Mm-hmm.
But 7's still not quite enough that I think it skews a little bit. So I think it's great programming. It's balanced. It's got some cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of great athletes going there. So
I like it better than last year's programming.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah, they've filled up the men a little bit. I guess I can share that real quick. We shared the women, I think, last week. So we have Taylor Self announced, Sam Stewart, Justin Rhodes, Matthias Porter, Jacob Marlowe, Drake Lewis, Tristan Harrison, Nick Matthew, Colton Mertens, and Chris Ibarra.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a good group of men, good group of women. The comp is, people are wanting to compete there.
So. Yeah. Chris Ibarra is a nice surprise.
Well, training partner is also there. Oh my gosh. Olivia Kerstetter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we went through all the women.
This I don't know.
I have no clue.
Because that P score was Z score or whatever P score.
I think they are doing a different scoring system.
Was it factor?
I heard
Pedro?
Tyler?
No, Tyler talking about it on Barbell Spin that he had
Like
to get,
doing P score again, or
He
he's
did-
changed.
he did not say what they were doing, but that he was like responsible for scoring. So that means you're doing one of these, right?
Yeah, Z or P for sure, unless he came up with a new scoring system that we don't know about.
I did not like Z score.
I didn't like P score. I think Z's. I don't even know which one I like better. I didn't think the P score.
Having
don't remember
negative
which was
points
which.
makes no sense to me.
That was P score.
That was Z. That
No,
was last year.
no, we did P last year.
I'm confused.
We did
I don't
P
know.
scoring last year, and there was the 0 points for a lot of people. It did not make
Whatever
sense.
last year was, I did not care.
It was P scoring, and it didn't matter if you were in like the bottom 4 of an event. You may have beat somebody by 20 reps, and you still got 0 points, the same as them. Like you didn't get rewarded for your work that you did.
Yeah,
That was P score.
It was ugly. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And especially in the Masters division where there was only like 8 athletes.
Yeah, you needed the scoring.
Right. You needed like 40 people or 30 people to
Yeah.
spread it out enough where it made sense.
They should have just put us in the main scoreboard so that it made sense and then pulled us out. Yeah, like with our points afterwards.
CrossFit says Pez scoring.
Which
Sure.
I was still waiting for that. Tyler had said he was going to put together the whole scoreboard, put the Masters in there, and I never got that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a place to experiment if you're going to do it. And as long as the athletes know going in that
But
it's
do they?
this is the scoring.
Sounds like they don't know.
Well, it wasn't in the email that we got. Like we received an email detailing the flow of the events and the standards and stuff like that JR sent out. I don't recall anything on the scoring though.
Okay.
You're getting quite the fans tonight.
Yeah. Something did spark.
She's
me.
a married woman.
Thanks, Carolyne.
So, on a different subject altogether, I ended up watching the Hiller video about the woman who admitted she used performance-enhancing drugs.
Oh, yes.
And him going through that, and like, I know so little about performance-enhancing drugs compared to what these people know. Like, it was really fascinating to me this story of her and how like it stays in a woman's system much longer than it does a man's because they don't need the testosterone. So it was just fascinating. But Hiller's always said there's kind of like 2 key signs if someone's using or not. And that is the rounded shoulder and the immediate up to the trap, like in the elevated trap. That is a key sign. Can I tell you at MFC, I'm going, yep, nope, yep, nope. Just with that like little trigger thing. And
I think it's hard to tell because a lot of people you can't even tell. It depends what they would be taking though.
I was just using the he said that's like his first cue that he looks for. And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but I'm saying just using that cue, like I would say 20% at MFC.
Yeah, I can see that.
Unofficial survey of just kind of observing, about 20%, which
Females or males?
both. But again, MFC, there were very few games athletes. There were like, these are people just kind of getting their feet wet and all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
It was
I found
a
that
good
interesting.
podcast. Yeah, he did a good video on that.
I just learned a lot, like, and a lot of it was, so it was both her and him talking about it, and her being very open and about how it affected her body, how it stayed in her body.
That's been my biggest complaint with this whole thing. Like some of those people that came from like powerlifting or bodybuilding. Like she came from bodybuilding, right? And you just can know that they were on it. Like that's been my complaint with this sport, and like especially the women when they continue on in CrossFit and they're like, well, I'm clean now. Like I feel like that's where we're at with Pinheiro at this point. Like I wish she would just admit that she took things for years. Sure, you've passed multiple job tests the last few years. You might be clean now, but your ceiling for lifts went way above what like I'll ever be able to compete with. And that is unfair to me. So
Oh, Tom Hardy having a night tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
So yeah, it was just an observation I had after watching that, sitting in a competition. And we've said like if it's going to be rampant, it's going to be rampant in the Masters, because especially on the men's side with just testosterone and people having low T and it being allowed to a certain level, even in testing, like all that kind of stuff. And so I was just kind of making an observation, but I actually thought it would be higher. And I again, this was just one sign that I picked up from what Hiller said and did it. And it was about 20%. I thought it would be a little bit higher. So anyway.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that, I guess.
I pulled up discount Tom Hardy's.
You did not.
I did. I went to go look at it. I was curious. Tom.
Roast him. He wants to be roasted.
Flexing.
Okay.
Nice muscles,
guys.
Tom. Nice muscles.
That's not roasting.
So there's a good football game on tonight. Bills and Ravens. So I think I'm going to go watch that as I go to bed.
All right.
Anything else you guys have to say? It's kind of been a slow week, other than the smack talk from Roman and everybody else. I did talk to Emily about having her on. She said she would come on. I think she's still vacationing a little bit. But I've never seen her talk smack like that in my life. And I really enjoyed reading it. And then like on the 17th one, Kyle jumps in. So that was fun. But I want to talk to her just because, winning third at the games this year and what does that mean? And then the TYR Cup, and she's had a pretty eventful off season. And where's she at going into next season? Because I'm anxious to see like what the difference is with the older athletes and the younger athletes.
Yeah.
Too. So I'd like to get some take on that. And I haven't really been doing a lot of interviews lately. So I think it's time to kind of ramp those back up as things slow down and Rogue comes. We'll have an excuse to pull some people in for that. And TYR Cup, we can talk to some people about that. But with that, don't forget to like and subscribe. We love our audience, even those Twitchers who are whatever they're doing, trying to distract us from our discussions.
Trolling.
Last thing, CrossFit said there's there's some prominent games females who've certainly dabbled in past lives. Again, I don't know nothing about nothing. I just was using one of his tips to see kind of what I thought. And I would never name names because I am not knowledgeable enough to do that.
Yeah.
With that being said, we will see everybody next week on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. All right. Bye, guys.